In the contract, we've also brought up police and fire. That was also brought up. We've asked to be in the forefront of all contracts for that area. So if that population grows, and as they grow, they're going to need more fire, they're going to need more police. We're going to be in position 1 to get those contracts. All right? Town of Hickory Creek. We're not going to support that district on our tax dollars in this room paying to the town of Hickory Creek. And then have citizens over there in ETJ that pay 0 to the town of Hickory Creek. All right? Because if the district forms, they will pay the town. Ad valorem, which is the property tax, will not come in the town of Hickory Creek. All right? Ad valorem on the north side of the property, which is now ETJ, will not come in the town of Hickory Creek. The commercial side, the 50% that they brought to the table of the commercial property sales tax will come into the town. That's it. So, no, we won't have the police and the fire and everything in place for a district that big and that huge to sustain and us be able to afford it in this town. And if you've watched throughout the years, some of you talked about transparency. We tried to always lay it out in a newsletter. We have fought for any tax increases. We reduced the property taxes in this town 3 years ago. And we fought every year to keep the taxes down. I don't want the money leaving out of my pocket, and you shouldn't either. Second thing, we try to look at this in a broad basis and a broad scope. Right now, if anybody's following our budget, we're down almost $100,000 over last year in sales tax revenue. Big part of that is the brand new Walmart that just opened up in Highland Village. The people that used to come around to this Walmart, this town, to this Chili's, to this Ray, to this Whataburger, go across the bridge and they go to that one over there. We're almost down 100,000. Next month, come back to the meeting, we're going to be talking about budgets. Where are we going to get 100 grand? You know, does it come on the backs of the employees and raises? Does it come in a tax hike? Does it come in cuts and more cuts? We don't want to do that. You know, we ran a slim, lean budget for the last 5 years. This council up here, very lean, very, very lean. Ask our city manager. If we don't think the expansion, the growth is going to come, TxDOT would have paid this town $1.2 million for the old town hall on the highway. The expansion of people is coming this way. Whether we want them right there or not, the census tells us that North Texas is growing. The expansion of the highway, TxDOT has already outlined it, it's coming. 2 years ago, we got the check. Actually, we just got it this last year. We got $936,000. We got the other 10% back in January. $1.2 million we negotiated. If you don't think we're watching the money and where it's going, this council negotiated that. We negotiated that money from TxDOT for the building to build a brand new animal shelter for. We paid cash. We bought police vehicles and other things for this town. School tax. The issue was brought up about school tax. The folks that would be living in that district, first off, the population of those folks does not count towards Hickory Creek. It does not count towards our numbers in Hickory Creek. Our new census numbers reveal that we're right at about 3,250 in population. If 900 residents come in over there, times 2 or 3, 3,500 people, they don't go in our numbers. It doesn't push us any further forward in moving the transition of how we are set up as a city government. We still remain at 3,250. The only way that would change is the southern sector of Turkeyville. If it went SF2, SF3, and there were new homes built in that area, those people would come to the population. The new district does not count towards our numbers. So for the population, it does not count. As far as the school, they still pay their school tax. So if they have students in the school district, and Lance, again, if I say something out of the text, I want you to correct me on this. If they have students in the school district, and the way the school district is set up, they will get paid a per head per student. That's how they make their money. That's how they bring in that revenue to the school district. Not only through ad valorem property tax, but by students and so forth. That has been the biggest issue with our school district over the last couple of years is the formula on how we get paid in the Lake Cities per student. So this would add more students to it. Is it a good time with the layoff of some teachers? Maybe it's not great. But we don't know if this project's going to be next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. All they're doing is laying the groundwork to say this is what we're looking at doing. That's it. The same flyer that went out, you know, I hate to see things go out like that when we try to post all meetings, we post on the internet, we post on the front. You know, a flyer went out about 4 years ago that said the town of Hickory Creek was going to get the first topless bar. And that was very, very disheartening to think that somebody would put something out like that saying that some council members up here were for that, and that was really going to come to this town. And all they had to do was their homework and see that we have ordinances in place that do not allow that in this town. And now we've got a flyer that I'm not going to go through all the stuff that was laid out here, but what I can tell you is a lot more facts need to come out other than just that flyer. But just like that topless bar, we're not going to allow that in this town. And we're going to do our due diligence on this as well. We'll be discussing this. We hope to answer all your questions that came up during the citizens forum. I'm not going to call on citizens in the audience other than the Goldfield attorney, maybe our attorney and so forth, because there's too many people who try to go through the meeting and do that. We just can't do it. We just can't do it. So we'll try to answer all those questions that maybe I didn't get covered just now. And, you know, for the citizens that did come out tonight, I encourage you all to step forward and volunteer. We have a lot of boards that you know what's going on in this town and see what's happening. There's always something going on. This is one of the bigger items. So with that, I'm going to open it up for the council. Misty, which is the attorney for the Goldfields, if you want to step up to the front. I know there are a couple of items that were asked upon today to discuss as well.
John, could I ask for a clarification? Just a moment ago, when you said that we have not been offered funds to support Turboville, Mr. Coleman turned around and said it's a lie and shook his head. Is there something we don't know? Has he offered
I can
funds?
clarify that if you want.
I mean, I'd love that.
I told Mr. Smith,
We're not going to take stuff from the audience.
I told Mr. Smith, his representative, that as soon as Target was paid.
Mr. Coleman, we're not going to take things from the audience, so. Excuse me.
Mayor, we're on agenda item D5, talking about development agreement with Goldfields, and that's the subject matter on this down. Yes, Board.
Are we allowed to allow the commissioner to explain how Dade County is going to help us with Park Ridge and Turboville?
If the mayor wants to give the commissioner an opportunity to speak up, it's a citizens forum. He didn't sign up.
You did not sign up.
That's the mayor's prerogative.
Council Board?
That's fine. I'd like it on record that the commissioner said it's a lie. I mean, I'd like to find out, you know, if there are going to be funds for Turboville or not.
Well,
Mr. Gordon, I didn't say it was a lie, but I think it's a misrepresentation. All right? So please don't place words in my mouth.
I can read lips. I am great.
Mr. Coleman, if you would, like I said about the audience participation, the same respect as if you would have in your court. So I appreciate that.
I don't know how you all limit people from speaking when you allow one person to speak but nobody else.
It's a discussion amongst the
Generally,
council.
with Open Meetings Act, you can't allow.
no, actually, we received a petition from the developer. We could have had this meeting between myself and the developer and their attorney and the mayor in the conference room during the day when nobody else could attend. We decided.
You've
done that. Mr. Mann.
Can I speak? Can I speak? Please. We decided not to do that and are actually having the negotiating session here in the public, in front of the entire council, which we have to post and open up to the public. And that's the reason that we're allowing the attorney to speak and not everyone else in the audience. We could have done this, not even had it at the meeting, done it at noon today in the conference room, but we chose not to do that.
Council Board?
I no longer have a question.
Anything else you'd like to discuss?
Every single person that stood up and spoke tonight, man, I took down your name and your phone number if I had it on the sheet here. There's several people I'd like to call. You've all got the little paper, you've all got my wife's office line, and you've all got my cell phone. I spoke to 27 people today starting at 4 a.m. this morning. At 6:24. People that can write a flyer full of untruths that are nameless and faceless. I just challenge you, before you believe whatever is stuck on your front door, come get some facts. I'll talk to anybody. You've all got my phone number.
Council Clark?
Could I just, and maybe Ms. Ventura could help with this, or maybe our attorney. I just want to make one point of clarification, Mayor. When you were saying that that ad valorem tax will not come into the city, my understanding is anything north of Tuberville in the ETJ, it doesn't come into the city anyway, so that wouldn't. But once development, the south part of the ranch on the south side of Tuberville is also in the district. That's already zoned by our town zoning, SF2, SF3. That's not, you're not asking for any changes in that, correct? And if homes are built there, according to the town zoning that's already been there, it's been there at least since 2008, that ad valorem will flow into the town.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct? Thank you for the clarification.
Misty, you want to go over any other items, or Councilman, you have some other questions? Go ahead. Paul, Councilman Kenny, do you have something? Good, right.
Misty Ventura, 9406 Biscayne Boulevard, Dallas, Texas, 75218. Thank you, Mayor, council members, members of the community for participating this evening. This is the fourth time that I've appeared before you on this matter. I do have a revised agreement. I have been working with your city attorney, Lance Van Zandt, and provided that in your board packets. I would like to go over the changes that were discussed at the last meeting, but at the council's pleasure, I'm happy to take the time to answer the questions that were posed by the community. I took down notes. I have 4 pages of questions. I understand there might also be a 40-question list. I'm happy to address those as well. At the council's pleasure, would you like me to address some of the questions asked, or would you like me to focus on the amendment?
Let's go ahead. If you took down some questions, Misty, let's go ahead and go through some of those questions. I don't want, we've got to keep it, you've got the questions, let's go through and give the answers so that everybody knows what those are. That'd be fine.
May I turn towards the audience?
That's not a problem as long as we keep it.
Yes, sir. I'd like to take a minute and make sure we're all operating from the same set of facts. Thank you. I'd like to take a minute and make sure that we're all operating from the same set of facts. I'm a lawyer. I represent developers. My name is Misty Ventura. I'm employed by the property owner, Al Goldfield. Will Al, please stand up. Al Goldfield owns 256 acres in this community. 116 of those acres south of Tuberville Road are in this city's corporate limits and zoned and taxed. The balance of the property north of Tuberville Road, very small exception, there's a small piece of the property north of Tuberville Road that is in the corporate limits that is zoned but is taxed under an ag exemption with respect to taxes. Most of the 140 acres north of Tuberville Road are in the ETJ, not taxed, not zoned, not subject to land use regulation as the mayor described to you. The proposal before you, authorized by 212-172 of the Local Government Code, is an ETJ development agreement that gives cities and developers certainty with respect to land uses in the ETJ. Regulation that this community would not otherwise have. It is an opportunity to provide a win-win for the community and for the property owner and ultimately the developer. With that by way of background, I'm going to try to click through the questions that I wrote down. If I missed any, I'm happy to stay after the meeting and address specific questions. What benefit is there to this project to the citizens? Is it a good deal? It is a good deal for this community because absent an approval of this agreement, all of the property in the ETJ can be developed with any use on a piecemeal basis, whether that's an SOB or a trailer park or a multifamily unit. So it is good for this community to have land use controls in the ETJ. In addition to that, it is good for this community to have that property developed in a district development model because that district development model is designed to pay for the needed infrastructure, including the impacts to Tuberville Road from this development. In other words, the folks that live in the 256 acres that are taxed by the district would be paying those district taxes to fund the infrastructure needed for the development. So is it a good deal? I believe it is. With respect to control of development in the ETJ, we've covered that regarding land uses and zoning. burden of sparse resources. Those are being managed by a combination of the district development tool as well as the sales tax.